Hello, hi, hello, everyone, my fellow friends. Welcome to Tam Psych Advice and welcome to any new viewers. I talk about Myers-Briggs and I fuse it with other topics that I think are really interesting and that can help you to grow and become better. And I just like talking about psychology, period. I think it's so fun. So be sure to hit that subscribe button so you can see all of my videos. I have lots of them. Check out my playlist and be sure to like the video. So today we're going to be talking about why ENFJs like hanging with INTJs, INTPs, and ENTJs. And for this video, I'm picturing them all in a room together, having a great conversation, and I'm going to explore it from that angle. Put in the comment section who you hang with, what MBTI is your bestie or a group of people that you hang out with. And sometimes we don't have the opportunity to hang with every type. So, do you have a fantasy type, a type that if you have the opportunity, you would love to be friends with them or hang out with them, or there's a group of MBTIers that you think would be cool together? So, without further ado, let's get into today's topic. So, why do I think ENFJs would like hanging with these three INTPs, INTJs, and ENTJs? Because I think they're a solid group and they would challenge each other's thoughts and are comfortable with that. And I think if they were having a conversation with each other, they would gain knowledge as they go. They can take each other's thought process and expand on it. ENFJs like to get in there and share their perspective on things. So let's say they're in the room together and they're having a conversation about relationships. How would you answer this question? Do you think that your partner is responsible for your feelings or should be responsible for your feelings? How do you think that these types would answer a question like that? I think an ENTJ's perspective would be yes, you are responsible for the person's feelings in the sense that communication is not just what's spoken, but it's also what the other person hears, how they interpret it. And you are responsible for what provokes certain feelings in another person and trying not to press that person's buttons. I think that's what a mature ENTJ would say. Together, this group can have great philosophical conversations where they can untangle the simplest of things and the most complex, crack codes, and figure out human behavior. Picture yourself dating someone new. Do you think you should lead with questions like, have you ever cheated on anyone? Do you think that's a good question for an introduction to someone or a first date? I think an ENTJ's perspective would be questioning someone else's character shouldn't put you in a position to damage your own. It could indicate what you've had in the past or what was done to you in the past and what you're trying to avoid. So when you bring negative energy to a situation, that should be fun and playful and beautiful and explorative and curious, but you're being judgmental instead. I think an ENTJ would think that that could be damaging to the start of a relationship, at least if they're dating you. So you want to be positive because ENTJs, just like all of these types, they're going to read into your answers. But the great thing about having these types together is they're going to explore questions and topics like this and they're going to beat it out until they arrive probably at the same conclusion or conclude that they're never going to arrive at the same conclusion, but they're definitely going to try to convince each other from their point of view at least. These types together can take one simple concept and explore it in 100 ways and come up with a variety of scenarios that keep them going all night long. ENFJs can feel great comfort in sitting in the company with these people who can get a combo ignited like an ESFP can get a party started. Ooh. Conversations like these are deeply enjoyable to them and so much more fruitful than sitting around a party dancing. If these four people are in a room together, there will be moments where the ENFJ's mind goes in and out of the conversation because NFs and NTs to some degree speak a different language. They might need to really study some of the things that the ENTJ, INTJ, and INTP are saying to get some things or to get the gist of what they're saying, which is also something that they enjoy. They like a new way of thinking, and so they won't mind stopping to mull over and really think about what exactly are they saying. So let's look at the INTJ for a second in this conversation, talking about dating and stuff like that. So, do you think that an INTJ would feel comfortable asking a controversial question or something about your dating history? I think an INTJ's perspective is you can have the greatest message ever, but if your delivery is off, the message will never get across. I think that's their philosophy on a lot of things. So, communication is important to them. They believe in being direct when it comes to what they want to know, controversial or not. They may not want to read the room first and figure out what's the temperature or gauge who you are or put themselves in your shoes when it comes to wanting to find out what they want to find out, especially in a dating situation. They might also want to know what your intentions are. So I don't think they believe so much in sugarcoating and watering it down. But I think because of the type of person they are, it may not come across as offensive, at least not to me. Some other types it might, because I understand who they are and how they are. The ENFJ is going to get in there and have conversations with each one of these types. And I guarantee you that every single one of these NT types has a mantra or a set of philosophies that they live by. And they're just going to start spouting them out. They're going to give you an angle in which to live your life, whether it's getting along with people, dating, work situations, how you should think about people. Just they're going to have an angle and they're going to teach you their philosophy. It's just going to come out. You know, those kind of things where you say, my mother always says, you're probably repeating something that an NT says a lot of times. So the ENFJ in this room, in this conversation that's being had, can add depth and fun to the conversation, and they can also help these types to think in a different way and challenge their thought process because they're going to see some things slightly different sometimes, and they're going to move that needle and maybe show them where there are fallacies in their thinking, or they're going to reinforce their thinking in some way. So ENFJs can have very strong beliefs also about certain things, and they can dig their heels in. They can help NTs expand their thought process. So curious are the NTs thinking and the ENFJs thinking. They aren't afraid to challenge these NTs to think in new ways and even convince them of their point of view while sharing their own thoughts. So it's great when these types have a comfort zone together. It could be also because they share a similar Enneagram, but when they're really comfortable with each other, they can have a great time. And even though some people may find some of these types to be intimidating, I remember somebody said ENFJs are intimidating too. And I was like, really? I didn't think so, but okay. But when they are comfortable with each other, it's fun because they can express how they're feeling about certain things and really go deeper. Although they're very different, INTPs, after having a really great conversation with an ENFJ, will believe that the two of them can go about things in a different way and somehow arrive at the same conclusion, which can be a good feeling when it comes to philosophies on life or relationships or dating. So, if you were in this room and you were having a conversation about relationships and dating, what would you reveal about yourself as far as dating? Do you believe in lying about certain things to make yourself look better or to cover things about your past? An INTJ would believe when dating, they're not going to be interested in lying to make themselves look good. They may not have the patience to give glib answers. If they cheated, they cheated. And they're probably going to give you a good convincing reason, or they're going to try, unless somebody calls them on it. But it's their perspective and their opinion and how they see things. But they're going to, even if they were doing something wrong, they can admit that they were wrong, but they're going to give you their reasoning for why they did what they did. Somebody else might call them on it in this group because it's a pretty tough group. So they're going to be calling each other out on stuff, which makes it fun. It's like a safe place to debate. We're all friends. We're not going to be mad at each other, but we're going to grow and we're going to figure this whole topic out and arrive at some new conclusions. Some people might look at INTPs as super serious, but when they're in a situation like this, they're probably going to interject something pretty funny every now and then about dating and their philosophies, and it might be a unique perspective and a way of looking at things. They could also hang back a little bit, pivot, change directions on their thought process after they take in what other people are saying, and they're also probably going to have the patience to hear people out without being so judgy on the other people's point of view. Intuitive thinkers will not argue their perspective with the fear of offending each other. They're not that type of group. They can handle it. They speak their minds with each other without having to ease around someone's feelings. They can be straightforward in a direct way and arrive at new conclusions. Some types might see their conversational learning styles as rude, but when they're with each other, it's a great opportunity for growing. They're not offended in the least. The only thing that could offend an NT or an intuitive thinker is if a close friend does something personally hurtful, like not being reliable or using jealous antics or not being a good friend. So that would be hurtful to them. But a good old conversation, nah, they can all handle it. ENFJ's philosophy might be slightly different, but in this group, they feel comfortable speaking their minds about things if they are comfortable with a particular group of NTs. But they may believe that there are better ways to approach certain topics that aren't offensive, especially when it comes to dating. They will understand that if you say some things super bluntly, then it could put the other person on the defense instead of at ease. But sometimes you can get the same answer or an even more truthful answer just by softening your approach and using tact. So when this group is together, they can all crack each other up by the way that they talk and express things. They're going to find interesting things about each other that are peculiar and curious and just plain fun. So if you have an opportunity to hang out with this group, I highly recommend it. And if you want me to do more videos on any of these types, make sure that you like the video so that I know you want to see more like it. Let me know in the comment section. And by the way, remember to check out my book, The Workplace Narcissist. Now, those are some difficult people. You definitely don't want to date any of those. But if you read my book, I promise it will help you to navigate the tricky terrain of hanging out with a narcissist. So until next time, I'll see you guys later. Bye, my friends.